and I don't anticipate this happening, but even if Cam Smith goes out and for 6 weeks hits 150 and has an OPS around 400 and gets sent down, it's still not the end of the world.
Let's go out to the HR&P guest line, being joined by the TV voice of the Astros, Todd Kalas. Today's interview with TK brought to you by Pipe Fitters, Local 211. They do it right. Todd, how was the off-season, spring training? How did you enjoy your time off before you had to go down to West Palm Beach? Things well?
Everything's good. At this time of year, kind of you wait and wait and wait, and then it jumps on you in a hurry, and here we are ready to go in less than 24 hours. So, yeah, good off season. Did some traveling. Spent some good quality time here in H-Town. Got out of the links a few times. So I'm ready to go. Ready to be busy for the next 7 or 8 months.
When in the off season did you think Cam Smith would be in right field?
That's a good question. I want to ask Dana Brown that question tomorrow on our broadcast. When he thought he was going to make the team. I mean, when he started out the spring and he walked his first 2 times on his 22nd birthday, showing me like he's not trying to do too much. He's not trying to over impress a new team or a new staff here. He just was within himself that first game. So he walks 2 times, and the next game he gets in like the 6th inning and hits 2 home runs. I'm like, all right, this could be somebody special. Even at that point, you're like, it's still going to be a long shot. And it wasn't until he started playing right field and playing right field well that I thought, all right, this is a real possibility now. He didn't really have a place to play on the infield. It didn't appear they weren't going to move Isaac Paredes up to third. So it looked like right field was his only option. So once he started playing right field well, then I'm like, this could really happen. And good for the kid. I mean, he did everything right this spring. In addition to being a great talent, he's a great kid. He's a great person. I can't wait to see how things go for him beginning tomorrow.
Todd Kalas joining us on the HR&P guest line. The Astros are not in a spot where they had to be desperate to get Cam Smith up, and Dana Brown and his staff and Joe Espada, they wouldn't call him up if they didn't think he could handle it. I absolutely 100% believe that. But what are the concerns of calling up a player who has 5 games, 20 plate appearances above high A ball?
So Dana Brown always pushes his guys. He's always been known to be an aggressive GM, or before that, even when he was director of player ops, director of the minor leagues, he's always pushed guys beyond their comfort zone. He just wants to challenge what he thinks are the best talents to see what they can do. He was telling us a story in spring training about how when he was early in his career, he was in Toronto and Alex Anthopoulos was the GM, and he told Anthopoulos he wants Miguel Castro and Roberto Osuna on the team. He's like, you got to put them on the team, and they've got to be your 8th and 9th inning guys. And Anthopoulos wasn't sure because they were both 20 years old at the time. Sure enough, those guys were on the team and were doing well at the back end of the Blue Jays bullpen that year. And so he's always pushed guys. There's never really, to me, even if, and I don't anticipate this happening, but even if Cam Smith goes out and for 6 weeks hits 150 and has an OPS around 400 and gets sent down, it's still not the end of the world. And I'm not projecting that, believe me. I'm just saying we saw it with Tucker in 2018, I guess, was the first year he came up, and then he wasn't up again. He went down twice in 18, and he wasn't up again until late in 19. And Kyle Tucker, his life and his baseball career has turned out pretty well. So to me, there's really no downside. If you're a really good talent and you have a really good head on your shoulders, which I think Cam does, then even if he is met with failure at the beginning of his career, he's still going to be okay. But I don't anticipate that happening.
Todd, as surprising as it is that obviously Cam Smith is in right field, I still feel a sense of shock that we're going to see a lot of Jose Altuve in left field this season. What's it been like watching that transition in the spring for you?
It's been a mixed bag, I'll be honest. There's been some really good and some not so good. And I think Altuve had a lot of chances to try and test a lot of different areas in left field in spring training. So what I saw, which was really good, was him going back on balls, on fly balls, and it didn't look like he was afraid of the wall, and he was going into the left center field gap with great speed. But think about Altuve. Even though he's 34 years old, he still runs 30-plus feet per second, which is elite in the major league. So his speed is fine, and he's going to be able to track down fly balls. The balls that gave him trouble, it seemed, were the balls that were slicing from left-handed hitters towards the line, kind of towards his backhand. And then we really didn't get to see him test that arm in the outfield. And that'll be something that has to play during the course of the season as well. But he seems to really, really like it. Like, Altuve's not just out there like, all right, now I have to play left field to help the team out. He really, really enjoys being a left fielder now, to the point where we're going to see him at second base a little bit, but I don't think we're going to see him much there. I think the majority, probably 3/4 to 80% of the time, he's going to be a left fielder.
I was going to ask you that, so I'm glad that you answered it. It's about 75% of the time in left. I wonder if the way that the other offensive players are performing could factor into that decision. Like if DeCinzo's knocking the cover off the baseball in his few spot starts, and whoever's playing second base, isn't carrying their weight offensively. Do you think that could factor into where Altuve's playing, like in July or August?
Oh, no doubt. I don't think there's anything set in stone right now, but I think right now the plan is it could be more than 75%. I'm just using that as a possibility. I think it could be as much as 90% or 95%, but I think it's going to be at least 75% in left. But you're right. If Brendan Rodgers and Mauricio Dubon are not hitting or not, stepping up their game defensively at second base, Altuve's numbers are what they are defensively, and we have watched it over the last few years. It's an upgrade on the infield when you have Dubon at second base or Brendan Rodgers at second base. And when you have Robert Valdez and Hunter Brown as your two key pitchers in your rotation, they're going to get a lot of ground balls. And so you need to have a stellar infield defense. You've got a huge upgrade at first base, and Rodgers or Dubon is going to be an upgrade at second base. So I really see this being the formula for the Astros in 2025. For now, things can change. Cam Smith might not work out in right field. I don't think that's going to happen. Jose Altuve might decide he wants to go back to second base. I don't think that's going to happen. So right now, I'd say get used to, if you're sitting in the Crawford boxes, get used to having 27 out there with you.
What's it been like seeing Isaac Paredes? What are your expectations for him replacing Alex Bregman this year?
Really, really good hands. Really good hands. Like, better than I even thought. The range is not going to be quite as good as Alex Bregman's, but that's why Alex won a Gold Glove. Isak's going to get anything that's hit within his range. And it's, like I said, his range is not going to be as good as Alex's, but it's still very solid. He's going to be a really better than average player at third base. I was really impressed with him defensively. And then offensively, the stats, we probably gave it to you 3 or 4 times during the spring about how he saw more pitches than anybody else in baseball last year per plate appearance. That's going to be huge for so many reasons. Number one, it helps out get pitches on a pitcher. The opposing pitcher may go fewer innings because of that. Number two, and this is the biggest thing, is Yordan Alvarez is a guy, whenever you watch Yordan in the on-deck circle, he's never in the on-deck circle. He's always 5 to 10 feet closer to home plate. And for Yordan, he's trying to time up the pitcher. He's trying to look for visual cues from a pitcher. And so many times when Altuve was batting first and Yordan was batting second, Altuve put more first pitches into play last year than anybody in baseball. So Yordan a lot of times would come in from left field or come in from the dugout if he was DHing, and he would see one pitch, and then he would be up to the plate. Now, with Altuve in front of him and Isaac Paredes, he's going to see anywhere from 5 to 10 pitches before he digs into the batter's box. So that's going to be a huge advantage, I think, for the big man.
That's a great point. Yeah, I always fight that Yordan should bat fourth because I'm kind of old school and people called me a boomer and all of that. But that's a great point. He's going to be able to have a little bit more time before he has to come up, and you still get that at bat in the first inning. Todd Kalas joining us on the HR&P guest line. We were just having this conversation. Jeremy Pena, really good player. Jose Altuve called Cam Smith the future superstar. I hope he's right. Also mentioned it about Pena, so it's been a topic of conversation on our show today. Where do you think Jeremy Pena stacks up with the superstar label? Do you think he's there yet?
No, I don't. I think he can be, but I don't think he's there yet. Very good defensive player, probably close to superstar level defensively, but offensively just has not been consistent enough to be called a superstar offensively. But I think this year could be the year where you do call him a star or a superstar. I think, look at that OPS the last 3 years. It's been somewhere between 700 and 715. A lot of that has to do with not drawing a lot of walks. And Jeremy may never be a guy that draws a lot of walks, but this spring only 3 strikeouts in 45-ish plate appearances, putting the ball in play, really hitting the ball on a line a lot. I really liked what I saw to Jeremy Pena this year I didn't know Cam Smith at all. So other than Cam Smith, Jeremy Pena to me was the most impressive guy in spring training with how good his at-bats were. So I don't think you can call him a superstar yet, but I think after 2025 you might be able to.
Todd, we spent this whole interview talking about the lineup and position players. Just how do you feel about the rotation going into 2025?
I feel good. I would love it if Spencer Arrighetti and Hunter Brown were more locked into the strike zone the last couple of outings going into the regular season. But as we saw out of Ronel Blanco last night, he had not had a good 4 starts in spring training, and he locked it in actually 2 days ago on Monday. He locked it in 2 days ago, and he looks like he's just going to be fine for the regular season. So I expect the same could be for Hunter and Spencer. But yeah, they both at times were kind of searching for the zone during spring training. Fromber's Fromber. He's going to be fine. He's going to get his 65% ground ball percentage tomorrow. He's going to be right there with 6 or 7 innings, hopefully, and giving the Astros the lead going into the Abreu and Hader combination. And then, beyond that, I have not seen Hayden Wisniewski, believe it or not. I have not seen him in any game live to this point. He didn't pitch in any of our games we did in West Palm Beach, and we did not cover the game last night. We covered the game Monday. He pitched last night. So I'm really curious to see what he looks like live, but everything I've heard about Hayden is positive, and I think this could be a really nice season for him as the number 5 starter. So I'm fine with the rotation. I think everything is built around. To me, the key to this team is not the rotation, is not this 8th and 9th inning guys, even the 7th inning guy, if Taylor Scott becomes any version of 2024 that we saw. To me, the key is when guys do have 4 or 5 inning starts, bridging that gap between the starter and the 7, 8, 9 guys. That's going to be the key to the season.
Todd, appreciate the time. Looking forward to another yearly installment of TK in the saddle with us. Have a great call tomorrow.
Thank you so much, guys. Looking forward to working with you another year here. We always have fun on these calls. Thanks.
That's Todd Kalas, voice of the Astros, joining us on the HR&P guest line. We paid him to say that, too, though. If we didn't pay him, do you think he'd still say what he said about how much he likes being on with us, Joe?
I think he likes us.